I'm recording this on Remembrance Sunday, and it seems fitting to dedicate this video to the memory of my father, who served in the RAF during World War II, supporting the Allied forces deployed in the Far East campaign to combat the imperialist ambitions of the Japanese war machine. The old man was born in 1914 in Bradford at the outbreak of the First World War. He could not have known then that which he later came to know fully and at first hand, that wars are started by governments, not populations. And whereas the Allied cause in World War II was a far more noble one than that of the previous world conflict, his personal experiences in the white heat of 4 years of bloodshed far away from home brought into keen focus his understanding of that basic principle. He believed in the depths of his soul, as I do now, that the vast majority of people the world over aspire to the same basic components for a good life: a secure home, the means to provide for self and family, good health, and thereby happiness and fulfilment. Put simply, his instinct was that peoples of all beliefs will get along just fine with a bit of give and take here and there. Governments and religions start wars, not people. My father kept a short diary of his wartime experiences in Burma, Malaya and India. And I think that the proliferation of motorcycles in these parts of the world as the default option for motorised transport, both civil and military, may have influenced to some degree his subsequent transition post-war from pedal cyclist to motorcyclist. I remember as a child his pronouncements upon the general merits or otherwise of machines named Ariel, James, Norton, BSA, Royal Enfield, Vincent, AJS and many others, and which spoke to a sincerely held passion for these British-made feats of engineering from a time now long past when we actually made things. Can you believe that Great Britain, once a proud centre for manufacture and export, with global reach and influence, is today reduced to a second-rate economy where manufacture takes up just 20%, that's 1/5, of our entire gross domestic product. The other 80% is services, mainly financial services. What a state of affairs. The old man saw this regressive transformation through the 1980s and 90s, and it moved him to ask on more than one occasion what it was he was fighting for those years before. I think that it's fair to say that he bristled somewhat when his two passions of motorcycles and photography became the subject of rapid progress for post-war Japanese industry, when names like Honda, Yamaha, Suzuki, Kawasaki, Nikon, Canon and Sony came along. He was never tempted though, and stuck by his trusty James motorcycle, latterly with sidecar, and his Zeiss camera. And he saw no irony regarding the latter, often proclaiming that he never fought the Hun, only the Japs, a far more tenacious enemy, as he would have it. Dad served as a corporal engineer in the Royal Air Force, repairing and maintaining the aircraft deployed in the Far East. In the early years of the campaign, he was in the thick of it as the Japanese Imperial Army purged the likes of Burma, Malaya and Singapore of their British occupation and rule. As a result of this enemy advance, he found himself posted to India as part of the Southern Command, headquartered in Pune. In the final year of the war, it seems from his diaries that things had started to calm down a little, and he and his comrades began to enjoy, if enjoy is the word, a way of life out there which had some of the elements of normality associated with 1940s life. And it's from that final year, from January to July, that I would like to share a handful of his writings, to give some idea of how events entirely out of our control can result in a seismic change to our way of life. A life in which tomorrow is never guaranteed and where every meal may be the last one. For reasons which will become apparent, I will call these extracts From Bombay to Morecambe. Thursday, 4th January 1945. Bugler blows reveille. Now this is because some of the blokes kept missing the final Gary, and a Gary is a form of Indian horse-drawn cab. On the way to work, several spokes fell out of my back wheel, so the bike goes in for a major. 3 rupees 12, scandalous. Fairly busy. Received a letter C-mail from Mary and also a Christmas card. Also a letter from Mac with a reminder to write to Sally. They seem to have had a good time at Paul's at Chandamagoa. Wish I had been there with them. Stayed in and wrote letters, one to Mary and one to Sally. Later walked to canteen. Nightmare at night. Thursday, 15th February. Came off guard at 0800 hours. Slipped into bed after 2 breakfasts and inadvertently fell asleep. Vivid dreams. Awoke with a start and dashed up to rewiring to catch a charwalla. Lost a spit, that's a Spitfire. Today, second this week. Doing well. In evening went to Flicks and saw a really good film. Fired Wife. Very humorous. Fell asleep as soon as I hit the old charpoy. And the charpoy is a form of makeshift bed. Friday, 23rd March. Busy all morning finishing job on Beaufighter. That's a Bristol Beaufighter, an aircraft. Then pay parade at 1100 hours. Paid off my 5 rupees debt. Got ticket for pictures at night, but there was no show again. Money to be refunded. Beer in, but not on sale. Sally and Gilly in at night for a chat. Did nothing else. Wednesday, 18th April. Got Beaufighter finished this morning. Spit that was missing on flight yesterday was found about 8 miles away, crashed and burned out. Went to cinema at night to see South of Tahiti. Only fair and quite old. New seating arrangements much better than before. Thursday, 3rd May. Received no mail today. 2 new IORs came, that's Indian Other Ranks. 1 Group 1 and 1 Group 2. War news very good. Rangoon retaken after just 3 years. Stayed in reading and talking at night. Did G Group running morning, which passed away some time. Now at this point, rumours were abounding about an imminent demob and return to home on the back of significant Allied progress. And this brought about an uplifting general morale amongst the ranks. And with it, in subsequent days and weeks, a frustration at the lack of emergence of anything tangible or definitive on the issue. And so we continue. Tuesday, 12th June 1945. The days are going very slowly now. Dropped a bolt in a Spit 617 petrol tank. Won't there be a row when I tell Sticky tomorrow? Stayed in at night. Wrote to Ralph. Ralph was his brother. No mail today. Saturday, 7th July. Awakened at 4 a.m. and got up. Breakfast at 4:15 and then handed in durry, that's a form of rug, and a mosquito net, hoisted all kit and blankets and walked in pouring rain. P2. Got in Gary number 30 and went in convoy down to Alexandra Dock, Bombay. Embarked on the SS Johan van Oldenbarnevelt, 20,000 tons. Mess deck E3, 87 table, in hammocks. Food not too bad, 400 civilians aboard. Bags of discipline and regulations make it worse than when coming out. Did not pull out because engines US. Tuesday, 10th July. Set sail this morning at 0900 hours. Struck rough sea as soon as we got out into the bay, and bags of bloke were sick. No ship's inspection. Drew rations of cigarettes, soap, etc. and spent most of the afternoon sleeping. Sing-song in the canteen at night. Slept on table and nearly rolled off several times. Clocks back 45 minutes at 1400 and a further 24 minutes at 0400. Tuesday, 31st July. Still aboard ship, but expect to go off any time. Wonder what will happen about customs. Find we are last to leave ship, usual luck. Had to clean all decks before disembarking, whilst everyone else was away. Finally put foot ashore at 10:30 p.m. Train pulled out of Morecambe at 11:35 p.m. Free charwads and cigs and chocolate from Nafi. The war with Japan formally ended 2 weeks after he set foot back on British soil. Reading these diaries reminds me how fragile our relatively cosseted lives are today, and at a time when global kinetics are playing out very badly, we should not find such an upheaval in the lives of ordinary people in the 1940s a remote possibility today. It really doesn't take much. As for the old man, well, he passed away in late October of 1999 at the age of 84. And it is a matter of the deepest regret that I could not be with him at the time of his passing. But I do draw valuable lessons in life from the perspective of a man who knows exactly what it's like to be wrenched away from home to a distant and dangerous land, and to spend 4 years where every day is spent having to entertain the likelihood of premature, possibly imminent death at the hands of other human beings. Every day for 4 years. I imagine that such an experience purges all of your latent prejudices and frees up the mind to view life and living differently. It renders utterly trivial all of those ideas that seem to preoccupy people concerning the beliefs and activities of others beyond the most extreme or criminal. My dad would have no truck whatsoever with gossip or grapevine narratives, and his response to anyone excitedly asking, "Have you heard about so-and-so?" would invariably be, "Do I really need to know this?" I commend that response to you. On those rare occasions when the immature behaviour of prejudiced people became too intense to bear, he did what we all should do: stuck up 2 fingers and rode his bike